Hey, my name is Tim Cameron Kitchen, Head Ninja at Exposure Ninja, and welcome to Ask Ninja. This week, how to advertise something that your customers don't know that they need, and what should my conversion rate be? Our first question this week comes out of a client meeting that we were having, and the particular business that we were talking to was, they sell software. They sell a software solution which is quite different to anything else on the market. So the challenge for them is that people aren't necessarily searching for this thing on Google. So if you're selling something that people aren't already searching for, if they don't know that they need it, how do you get your product in front of people effectively? If you think about what this type of sale actually is, this is going to be an interruption sale. Right, so you're going to have to make your product or your solution appear in front of people, interrupt them while they're spending time online doing something else because they're not actually looking for your thing. So there's a few ways that you can do this. Now, social media offers some really nice ways of making interruption sales. For example, Facebook and Instagram ads. You might have seen a lot recently that there are lots of companies, e-commerce companies, which are selling kind of quirky products which are nice impulse purchases. I saw one today selling a beach towel that lets the sand go through the beach towel. So you're just browsing around on Instagram or Facebook and you see something and it's an impulse purchase, and maybe they've targeted a particular demographic or the interest, so they make a sale that way. Now, if you're selling something which is a little bit more complicated, you have a smaller audience, so you're not necessarily selling a beach towel, you might be selling some kind of B2B software or something which is quite technical and you actually have quite a small audience for, then the approach that you want to take is to create your own media property for these people. So that sounds super complicated. What does it actually mean? Well, let's take the example of a magazine. So an old school magazine, like one that you'd pick up in the shops and read. Remember those? So I used to read a lot of drum magazines. And if we think about what a drum magazine actually is, really a drum magazine is a few articles about a particular topic designed to collect lots of drummers in one place so that advertisers can advertise to people who are interested in that one topic. So if I'm a drum company, I definitely want to go for drum magazines because that's where I'm going to find the drummers. And the exact same thing is true of your website or your blog. So let's take your blog for an example. Most people treat their blog as an opportunity to just shout promotional messages into the big black ether of the internet, hoping that people see one of these blog posts about their new MD or their new website going live and they decide to buy. Unlikely to happen. So what should your blog be instead? Well, your blog is really a magazine for your perfect target customer. So what's your perfect target customer really interested in? What are the problems that they have? What's the solution that you offer? You know, if we treat our blog like that, and if we create content that our target audience is going to be really interested in, firstly, we won't have any trouble getting people to actually read our blog once they're on their website, because it's actually going to be interesting and useful to them. But secondly, we're going to have something which can show up in organic search if people are typing a particular question that they have, or we have something that could be shared on social media because it's actually valuable and it's actually interesting. So by taking this approach and treating your blog and your social media like a magazine that your audience actually wants to read, what you're doing is you're creating the drum magazine, right? So you're collecting your audience on your website, and then you can make your promotional message to them about the thing that they don't need but they really do need. And once you've collected them and they're interested in this topic and you've got their attention, then you can start to drop mentions of your product or your service in there. So that's how I'd approach selling something that your audience doesn't know that they need. Second question this week came from Ben, and Ben asks, what should my conversion rate be? So for those who don't know, your conversion rate is the percentage of people that come to your website that become either a lead or a sale. So it's the percentage of people that convert. Let's say we get 100 people to your website, 5 people convert, so become a lead or sale, you then have a conversion rate of 5%. Now, answering in really general terms about what your conversion rate could be, it's quite tricky because it depends on a certain number of variables. So for example, the quality of the traffic coming through. So how likely are people that are visiting your website to buy? For example, if they're coming through blog posts or they're coming through general informational posts or through a knowledge-based page, they might just be looking for information. They might not actually be looking to buy or become a lead. Whereas if you're driving, say, pay-per-click traffic to a very specific landing page, identifying a particular thing that somebody needs and then offering it to them on the landing page, and you should have a much higher conversion rate. Your conversion rate will also depend on the different types of traffic that you're getting through. So social media traffic, for example, tends to have a lower conversion rate because people are looking at it on their phones, they've got lots of stuff going on, they're flicking in and out of different sites, so it tends to be more fickle, whereas say organic search traffic tends to have a higher conversion rate. It'll also depend on how much of your traffic is mobile and desktop. So as you can see, there are loads of different variables. The other really important thing that defines your conversion rate is how much of a commitment you're asking people to take. Let's say say that I'm a solicitor's firm, right? And my conversion goal, the thing that I want people to do on my website, is to start a legal case with me, right? So fill in a really detailed form, tell me all about their situation, and become a client. Well, very few people are going to want to do that straight away. Whereas if I'm offering some free advice, or I'm, let's say I'm an e-commerce site and I'm offering a free gift with no shipping, well, that's going to get a much higher conversion rate because it's much more compelling, lower risk, higher perceived value. So lots of different variables that define your conversion rate. Now in this case, Ben's conversion rate was 0.4%, and he wanted to know, was that good? What could be done to improve it? Now, conversion rate of 0.4% is actually pretty low. That tells us that out of every 1,000 people that visit the website, 996 of them don't do anything, they don't convert, and only 4 people out of those 1,000 actually take the action. So that tells us one of 3 things. It either tells us that that website is doing a poor job of selling the click or selling the action, it tells us that the traffic isn't good quality enough, or it tells us that the thing we're asking people to do is too much, right? We're asking them to take too much of a risk, we're asking them to take too much of a gamble. So 0.4 conversion rate tells us that one of those things is happening. Now the good news is it's not a 0% conversion rate, so something is happening, people are ordering. But what I would suggest, and what I suggested to Ben, is if you have a really low conversion rate, and I'm talking about anything less than say 1%, I'd think about adding in another conversion goal, which is say lower commitment. So in this example, Ben was selling a training course and the conversion goal was people sign up and pay for the course. Now there wasn't too much information about the courses on the website, so I suggested rather than just selling the course, what you could also do is have a little form which says if you're interested in taking any of our courses, you want to download a syllabus or you want some more information, then stick in your details here and we'll be in touch to discuss this with you. The benefit of something like that is it's much lower commitment, right? I'm not having to spend any money, I'm just finding out some more information. So just doing that is going to increase your conversion rate. The other thing I'd look at would be how well is that conversion goal being sold on your website. So for example here, we're just talking about a couple of paragraphs of text and then a button that said buy now and then they had to spend £500. So that's quite a leap of faith for people to take. So what you might do instead is add in some testimonials, add in some credibility pieces like logos or ratings or reviews and stuff like that. Loads of information about the thing that you're selling, because you'll find that the more you tell, the more you sell. So that's going to increase your conversion rate as well. So generally, if you've got a conversion rate of less than 1%, then it tells me that either the site isn't doing a particularly good job of converting, or the thing that you're asking people to do is too much, or the traffic isn't high quality enough. Just as a frame of reference, we normally aim for a conversion rate of between 5 and 10%. The best performing site that we've ever built converts at 33%, so that's ridiculous. Like, you don't need to aim for that because you'll blow your brains out doing so, but some kind of ballpark figures there which can be useful. So I hope you found this useful. If you've got any questions that you want answered in future Ask Ninja episodes, then you can head over to our Facebook page, our Twitter page, or you can drop us an email. And don't forget to check out the Exposure Ninja Digital Marketing Podcast. We've moved up to 2 episodes per week. You want to check out one last week with Vicky from Honest Mum. Amazing woman. She's grown this huge mummy blogger audience, so we look behind the scenes at what that looks like for her, and we get a bit of an insight on how brands can work with mummy bloggers and use the credibility and influence that they have with their audiences. Anyway, send over your questions and see you next week.